Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at One Piece. We'll also be doing Black Clover and My Hero Academia, but this will be the first. It wasn't the most epic of chapters in comparison to the all three. I think Black Clover took the hat for me today, but this was really good. It was in a good story plot. It moved things along. I really enjoyed this chapter, so without further ado, here's my review. So, there's a few points that I want to talk about, but ultimately there's quite a few that you could really talk about. You'd be here all day, realistically. And that's the beauty of One Piece chapters. They're just full of information and full of content, and we can go all day if we wanted to, getting excited about what's going to happen next. So I've got 5 points, 5 things I would like to discuss, and the reason why they're interesting is for different reasons. Let's start with the first thing. So, I always forget names. I'm really bad with names. Like, unless you see them on a regular basis, I forget. And this is evident in my last week's chapter when I couldn't remember Bobbin's name. Now, Bobbin's revelation on his bounties is a bit controversial because people are like, oh, his bounty is quite low. It's either 105.5 million or 155 million. And the reason why people are like, oh, this seems so low, I'm disappointed, is because they're comparing it to the likes of Smoothie and Cracker and Jack, who are the close to a billion mark. And for those people, it's all about perspective, because you got to think about it this way. Those people are the commanders, the right hand men, women, left hand women, the key core group that ultimately are the last defense for the commanders or the Yonkous, right? But this is different because Bobbin has been given the title Bishop / Fixer. This is important because the bishop, from a chess game point of view, is essentially the person that goes to do the dirty work and defends the king or queen with the X movements to cut people off and things of that nature. So being a fixer to do that dirty work is actually pretty cool. Now, his ability was also interesting because it looked like he used haki, or he put people to sleep, so it can't be haki. What it actually was a type of hypnotism. So if you ever see much of the hypnotism on media, TVs and movies, there's always this one thing that kind of tilts. You go, just focus, 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 and then you get hypnotized. That is essentially what Bobby did, and he wants to deal with Sanji essentially because he feels that's his duty to deal with that. So that's interesting. I just wanted to point that out. It's just because he's got 155 million or 105.5 million, he isn't weak. He holds a lower position in the hierarchy compared to the commanders, and therefore has less of a bounty. It doesn't make him less dangerous. It just is different. Now let's move on. Point number 2, and it's all about Brook. The Brook scene was just hilarious because it was essentially them trying to get him out. People kept trying, and Big Mom's half asleep, and Prometheus and Zeus and everything else was just throwing attacks, and it was so funny because they thought it were flies, but that's what they are to Yonko. They are like flies. They're insignificant, but it took teamwork to get him out, and the whole idea with the skeleton corpse and the Seawood was hilarious. Eventually everyone played their part. They eventually got Brook out there, so that was great to see. Teamwork really helped out here. So it wasn't one person, it was the whole team that collectively did that. This then sets up a really interesting piece, and it's to do with the poneglyphs. Essentially, Brook had the poneglyphs in his skull, which a lot of people called for. I know you've watched a lot of other people's reviews, they do mention this. But here's an important key thing that's kind of lost in translation and people overlook. He had 3 rubbings, okay? Poneglyphs is what he has, not poneglyph. So basically explain, of the 3 rubbings he had, he's got the rubbing of the road poneglyph. He has the rubbing of the poneglyph that Jinbei brought Big Mom, and also the one that they already had. So effectively he has rubbings of all 3 poneglyphs that Big Mom has, which is crazy considering how short time he had. So Brook's really pulled one out. He literally is the MVP, and I really like that because he's one of my favourite characters, purely because he's so funny and eccentric, and I really like the fact that he's got time to shine, because he really hasn't post time skip in my opinion. Anyway, moving on. Sanji finding Luffy. There's 2 things to this. The whole thing with Sanji getting the food to Luffy and the dog coming away was quite symbolic to the idea of him giving food to his mother. So it kind of represents that. The flashback and this was kind of like ironic. It kind of was a parallel. And the same thing, they have something very in common. They were giving food to someone they care about or someone they love. So there is an emotional attachment to his mother, so Luffy's mother, and his captain. Also, what's significant is Luffy took out everybody that was out there. So this big wrath of Big Mom, this whole crew that would come, the majority of them have been taken out by the commanders or the sons and daughters, you know, like Pero, or, you know, or Mont d'Or or whatever have you. People like that are the last kind of defense now, other than the remaining sweet commanders, Smoothie and whoever the other person is. With that being said, them meeting is another piece of the puzzle now, because ultimately, now that everyone's got back together in two groups, you got everyone that's with Nami and then Luffy and Sanji. So that leads on to point number 5, what is going to happen next. Now, it's easily conceivable that they can run away. There's literally nothing stopping the story point at this point for them to run away. However, Sanji has worries, and being the man that he is, there's a good chance he's going to stay and sort something out for the Vinsmokes. Being that they're all together now, this can set up the counter-attack, or more or less then there'll be next stage and that'll be that done. That counter-attack is ultimately what's going to be at the tea party, in my opinion, and this big kind of revelation that all together will throw everything in uproar, because it's that misinformation from previous chapters that's now going to be to the advantage of the Straw Hats. Now, with that being said, what's going to happen next? There's going to be the tea party, there's going to be interruption to that bomb's probably eventually going to go off, and as that happens, something's going to happen with the Vinsmokes. Ultimately, if he does save all his family, I'm hoping that at least Sanji saves his sister, and maybe that's a new addition to the crew. That would be more than welcome to happen. So plenty to look forward to, a decent chapter, enjoyable, funny, moves the story along, and we're really getting towards that tea party now, which it looks like it's the night before, so everything can happen, anything and everything is going to happen. So I can't wait for this chaos and what this leads to, leading into the Kaido War in the future. That's all I have for you today on this specific chapter, and hopefully if you check out more other videos as well. Until then, like, comment, share and subscribe. If you've subscribed, thank you very much for doing so. If you've liked, continue to do so. The more you like, the more you view, it's going to help the YouTube algorithm to push my video forward, so I can build to a bigger audience for those that do like One Piece and reviews. So thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Peace.